All right, hey everybody, Jake here from Made for the Range, back on the Made for the Range YouTube channel with a really cool video today. I'm here at BryanGolf headquarters with my buddy Bryan Laroche. We're gonna go through a couple of videos today, actually. The first one we're gonna do is a little test of the Diamana lineup because for some reason, I haven't done that myself, even though I've had them.
You're the Diamana guy.
Yeah, like I've had them for a while.
You're the guy.
So you haven't hit the red board yet.
I've never even seen a red board, actually.
Until I brought it?
No, that's the first red board I've seen in our studio.
Okay, so this is the first RB in the studio, which is sick. The platforms and the profiles are very, very different. Like, that's what I actually love about the lineup the most, is that they are distinctly different between them. There's very little overlap from what I've seen. They also, we've been talking, they respond to tipping extremely well.
Which is not something that I normally actually do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the work we do here, it's straight in. Very rarely do we even mess around with things. That's a little bit of the difference between you and me is when I fit somebody for something on the wall, it's how it is and that's how we build it. Yeah. You do a little bit more testing in a sense. And when you're talking about tipping, you're nerding out and testing a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I have fortunate access, like especially with Mitsubishi, it's so easy because they're a partner.
You're the guy.
With Made for the Range.
You're the guy.
Like, I have the ability to take multiple shafts and tip them differently, or I had a WB installed straight and then I did one kind of tipped. So I will say, just to preface this for anybody that wants to complain about it, the three shafts are set up with appropriate tipping for them to work best for me so that they perform the way that they should perform for me. So just throwing that out there.
There's nothing consistent between them. You didn't tip them all the same. They're all different.
No, they're all slightly differently tipped so that they work.
For you.
So that they work. But you will see the flight characteristics of the profiles.
Before we get going and you start hitting, which one do you think you would, like just on paper, fit into the best usually?
That's a good question because it depends on what head. I think from a universal standpoint, it would be the BB.
Okay.
From a trying to get the most out of a very specific build, it would be the WB.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and then the RB is the surprising one. Out of
right. I've never been able to hit any, you see all these like red profiles.
Yeah.
Never been able to hit any of those at all with any success for me.
They're becoming so interesting because like this RB, and we'll talk about it when I hit it, is such low torque for a red profile.
Right, that's big.
And it's so different. Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense to me. What head are we using?
What head are we using? Oh, Callaway Elite Triple Diamond 9 degree set at 9 degrees.
Which we can confirm on the course, in the bay.
Oh, yeah.
Dude's crushing that one.
Yeah,
so it's a good club head to be using for this test.
Yeah. Good?
Let's hit some balls.
Let's do it. So we're going to start off with WB. So this one is super, super strong midsection. This one I played around with a lot. Like this is the one that when I talk about being responsive to tipping, this is the one I played around with a ton.
Yep.
And then I actually got advice from the tour rep. And he had said, like based on what I was telling him, he's like, dude, you gotta tip it like an inch. Because I always used to go straight in. I wasn't a believer in the tour tipping of like 1 inch.
Well, I mean, on tour, they're like, yep, cut an inch off.
Yeah,
cut an inch off. Cut an inch off.
1 inch is not even tipping for them. It's just how it's installed.
Correct.
And then we've also, I will spoil it, we've also been playing around with this for you.
We have played with,
there's some fun
meaning when you say we have played around with this, I just hit 3 balls with it and then we're like, yep, this is it. And I took it out the golf course and we played with it.
And we played a round with it.
And it was great. I mean, I was, a different head and all that, just trying to get used to it a little bit. But I have liked the whiteboard for myself.
Yeah.
From all the shafts on the wall, there's 2 or 3 shafts that I can actually like fit into decently well. I know that by now. But we've had really good success with the whiteboard profile for a lot of players, from 63X down to the 53R. Yeah. We've gotten a lot of players into it. It's one of our top selling shafts, just as far as individually, not, obviously we do a lot of others, but that is one, the whiteboard specifically has been really good. So I've liked it, but then hitting the TX, which I don't have on the wall, and then tipping an inch, and then going and looking and doing the research and noticing that makes sense because its softest point is the tip.
Is the tip, yeah.
And that's just not normally what I fit into. Yeah. Normally I'm like super, I'll get a little softer in the handle, stiff midsection, stiff or super stiff in the tip. That shaft impressed the hell out of me, especially the way it felt. It didn't feel like it was overly tipped.
No, it's still like very alive. Like you can feel a lot of ball speed coming through impact. I think the other thing for both of us is that by tipping it, we're making the handle a little softer because so there's new like dialed pitch fiber in the handle, very similar to another shaft on the market.
Okay.
And they did that to stiffen up the handle because modern golfers are just getting more and more Yankee and aggressive.
Wow. We're trying to bomb it, man.
Yeah, but guys like us are more, I would call it deliberate. Like it's still aggressive, but it's more deliberate instead of a surprise, if that makes sense.
Right.
So softening that up just even a little bit for us, I think made a big difference. Yeah. And for you, it'll even be a little bit softer because we'll go a little longer.
Yours is 45 inches, and that's cute and all, and a lot of people think that's the standard length of a driver, but I have never played anything shorter than 45 and a quarter, and I prefer it to be 45 and a half, so that, to me, it just kind of hammers home even more so how much I'm going to enjoy that shaft.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's going to end up in my bag this year.
Oh.
I'm just saying it.
I'm excited. And I want to take credit.
Yeah. You're excited?
Yeah.
You should be excited because it's because of you.
Good.
It's because of you.
Yeah. There's going to be other people excited about that now, too. I love it. All right, let's hit a few balls.
It's the Jakey solid sound.
Okay. Perfectly happy with that.
Obviously, a different shaft that you used on the golf course yesterday, but that is exactly what your ball looked like outside in wind, in the world, in the atmosphere. Like that's what your ball looked like all day. If I said, "What's Jake's golf ball look like?" I would take a picture of that and I'd show everybody.
Yeah. I'm very stuck on that being my shot. I tried to lean into like the bomber cut lifestyle. I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
Just bad at it.
It's a fun way to hit a golf ball and play around a golf. I'll tell you that much.
It is, but not when you're bad at it. A little close at the bottom.
No, I'm just kind of talking based on what you've seen for you. Do you feel like stiffer tip has more tendency to yank a little left on you, or softer handle? Like what does that for you? Is it the softer handle or the stiffer tip?
So for me, if I feel it's actually soft, I would say for me, it's actually softer tip makes the head feel like it's going to shut.
Go that way.
Yeah. So because I played the PD, which is the previous generation of a whiteboard for Diamana.
Yep.
The PD profile though was like, it wasn't exactly derivative of a WB profile. So when they went back to this, I was super intrigued by what was going to happen because the PD definitely had a stiffer tip, but it had a softer handle. And I like to feel the tip kind of stay, like just like hang out a second before it goes.
Yeah.
Where this one definitely, the difference between the two shafts has been, you can feel this head move. And it's not that it hasn't been a good thing or a bad thing, but I have noticed that this one is a lot more anti-right than the PD was. Like I think this one is harder to fade for me than the PD was.
I can see that. Now you said softer handle in the PD.
In the PD, yeah.
So for me, that's what it is. Things that have a little bit of a softer handle, that club is like way back here in comparison to where my hands are.
Yeah.
That's just, but I've seen some people, just depending on how they release it, all of a sudden the rest of the club starts going this way and it makes them go left. But I hit softer handle out to the right, which is why I've always liked something softer. I've almost been this guy where I'm like, softer handle, don't care what the rest of the shaft is. It can be stiff as can be a little soft. I just want the handle there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one's still like, if you look at the profile of the shaft, it's still within this lineup of these three shafts is still the soft handle option.
Yes, sir.
That was a BryanGolf shot right there.
Like a
high, huge cut.
2-foot cut, but like a 5-yard push with a 2-foot cut. You did that on the golf course yesterday too, man.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly what it looks like.
Okay. We think we're good with those three swings?
I mean, give me one more.
You want one more?
I just don't like that one that was like super hooky.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to see if that was just because it's your 12th swing of the day or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got plenty of speed. See, that's even more accurate of a high toe miss for you than the one that was a pull. You know, you had that pull hook.
Yeah.
I don't see you do that ever.
Yeah. That was a Jake swing at.
It's great.
Yeah, at 1.29 efficiency because it was probably right. here.
Right?
Yeah.
Here.
Just like Johnny would say.
I like
right
that.
here.
Yeah, except Johnny would be on the very bottom of that driver, and he'd tell you every time. I mean, you live toe side, so something that falls out of the sky is very scary.
It's scary. Yeah, super
See,
scary.
I live toe side, and I want nothing more than to just hit little like low heel cuts.
Yeah.
They still, the way drivers are made today, they still perform great. So are we going to go BB or RB? Are you going down the line, or are you going to skip the line?
No, let's go BB. Let's
BB,
go BB,
okay.
see what happens.
Just go down it. Oh, it's different.
She's different.
Different feel, different everything.
Yeah. How did that ball get to 2?
What a totally different impact, though. Like now you went low heel.
Yeah.
With a closed face.
There we go.
So looking at 2 balls there, what I feel, because so many people get this middle profile as the stock shaft, right? Like that's just what companies put in, stock shaft. Yeah, that fits a lot of people, but what I see more is when players are coming in for fits and they have that middle profile like a BB or blue board. The TB was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it with LZ a little bit the other day. I was like, there's a little bit of separation from church and state.
Yep.
Like sometimes they work. I think it takes a really nice, smooth, consistent delivery to get these bad boys to work. Yeah. People will fight these profiles, I think, more so than the other ones.
Yeah. For me, it's like if you can get it to here and get it to here before you go, right? From here to here, it's going to stay. But for me to go from here, it's just like, whee, head's gone.
Regardless of comparing just the handles, that shaft, the midsection and the handle are similar.
Yeah.
So you've got a longer section of that shaft that's doing similar job.
Yeah.
A similar job, I guess.
It's very uniform into a soft tip.
Baby.
And then I do that.
I mean, that is the perfect example of this profile if it doesn't fit you.
Yep.
You are going to hit one right, you're going to snipe one left, and then that third ball is going to be amazing. And that's people come in and they say that. Like, well, I'll hit like 10 really good ones, but then I'll hit 10 really bad ones. I'm like, that sounds like an ill-fit shaft. Oh, it's beautiful. See, what it is you're just timing it up now.
Oh, I'm cheating. Yeah. No, I'm absolutely not going.
Just fine.
Yeah. But again, that's like, okay, I tell people this all the time. That's our job.
For sure.
Is to tell people, like, who does this profile match up with? Because if it's not mine, you and I aren't going to stand here and hit this and go, oh, this thing sucks.
Right.
Right? Because it doesn't suck. It's just not made for this swing. It's made for this swing. So if I put better input into it, then we can tell, like, okay, now is it delivering enough energy? Is it keeping stable? Is it getting the club in, like that kind of stuff?
Right.
You know?
See, before I got into the industry like I am now, that's how I was. I was a naysayer.
Yeah.
Great profiles that just didn't fit me, and I would just naysay them. Yeah, it looks like you're just waiting on that head. Or you're getting your hands in there earlier so the head can come down at the end.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
I wish it wasn't such an adjustment for me. It's just so good.
Yeah, you have to make it work.
I do, which sucks.
But if I'm looking at the numbers, we would have to change something to even get you in that.
Yeah.
Because your draws are 26 and 27. Every once in a while you get a 24 or 25. Anytime that thing goes right, it's high right, spinny, bad.
It's doing its job, which is unfortunate for me because its job is not to help me. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Red board. This one's going to be fun.
This one's the fun one. This one's unique. Yeah.
I hope it works. Not surprised. It's a good swing. That's Jake trying to hit the ball a few yards right and let it come back left.
Yeah, that is. I'm still trying to just play the 5-yard draw.
Jake golf.
Yeah. One more.
Little toey.
Yeah, I felt that top hand kind of
so
move.
You're going to get that.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about those real quick, because that's just me, not changing anything. It feels way more stable than a red board deserves to feel, because it is incredibly soft.
It's the material, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be the material difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they still have the pitch fiber in the handle. Mm-hmm. That's consistent across all of them. They have their X-Link Tech stuff like running throughout the whole shaft, and then they've got 46-ton fiber in all 3 shafts. So like the material and the construction of all of them is meant to feel very, very similar and just provide different launch characteristics.
Yep.
What I've noticed about this one is its initial launch is really low, but it loves to do this. To do that. And to me, that usually is like, it's developing club head speed, comes out hot, but then the way the head is influencing the ball, it's not even that it's crazy high spin. Like it usually doesn't even get above like 3,000. It just has that property to come out like stingerish, and then rise though.
Like an old school, like you know the ball on like Happy Gilmore?
Yes.
Man, that's how I used to hit a ball when I picked up the game when I was 12 in 1997. It was like, oh, these low risers, and people liked that ball. They used to think that was like the tour flight.
Oh yeah.
Well, now the tour flight's like, how do we go up really quick?
How do you get up as fast as possible
and come down? 320 down the fairway. Yeah.
So that is like, and I noticed that when I played it for that round outside. Again, though, like from a feel standpoint, it feels really, really close to the BB.
Okay.
And the WB too, but like more in the BB just because of that. You can feel that tip kind of moving. Like that last swing, at the bottom, I knew that face was going to close. Like I got to about here and I was like, like this is going to happen. And that's where, again, it still just sort of loses it for me. But you saw me hit this in a fairway wood yesterday.
I did.
It was
very well.
Very nice.
Very well.
And that just goes back to like when you get it at a certain length or you tip it a certain amount and you can adjust that handle a little bit, you can adjust that tip a little bit. Right. This whole lineup responds so well to tipping, which is a really fun thing to play with. It's hard to talk about it too much because it's hard for other people to play with that.
Yeah, you just don't get it tested that much. Yeah. That's what we were talking about earlier. It's like it's not something that everybody can just do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can make some guesses. Yeah. On tour, they're 100% doing that. Yeah. I mean, they're taking 3 of those shafts, they're tipping them differently, and they're going, here you go, see which one works the best.
Yeah. Yep.
On command?
Well, I'm an elite athlete, man.
Well, athletes run the world.
I'm an elite athlete, actually. Callaway elite athlete.
Now you're getting a nice little bump from the green, but 307, that's one of your better balls. I think you benefited from a little toe blast. Now, see, I know it's a high right, but that is, you mentioned earlier, like that's a Bryan golf ball.
Yeah.
Like, I like that ball.
Yeah, I know.
I like one that starts a little right and cuts.
Yeah.
Obviously, you gotta game it, but the toe, that impact, more times than not, you would see it fall left. Sometimes fall a little too much left.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the softer tip section leaves that thing open.
Yeah, it's just
and when it gets hit on the toe, it can even open it a little bit more.
Yeah.
That was a great swing. Just harder to work like that.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, that sounded really solid. But
it did, yeah.
I know that the Elite Triple Diamond, can we talk about it right now? How good that thing feels and sounds?
Hell yeah.
So good.
It's wonderful. All right, so diving into the data. In Bryan Golf's opinion, what do you see, and then what would I be walking out with?
All right, well, there's a couple things. The one thing that's sad to me, because I'm such a WB fan, is it was the first one you hit. We hit like 3 or 4 balls.
Yeah.
You didn't like try to make it work. You just swung it, and it just did what it did.
Yeah.
Your swing speed was a little lower with it.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking like 2 miles an hour or 1 mile an hour compared to the red. By the way, lovely impacts, just all over here, same spot. I mean, you are an American flag right there in the corner. You are money. But the fact that you hit it there, that makes all this that much more fun. The red is out of control because it wants to go out to the right. Now, could we tip it and maybe help that? Sure. Are we going to be able to do that now?
Yeah.
No. And it's still, we could tip it all the way, and it wouldn't really make that big of a difference, I don't think, because what's in your hands in the midsection, it's not just the tip doing that, but I think the tip does factor in. I don't mind this 2600 spin if we're just looking at the blue and the red. Like, people are going to look at that and go, oh, that's kind of high, especially on the BB when you hit some little draws.
Yeah.
I think if we can get a draw that's 22 to 24 and a fade that's 26 to 28, and they average somewhere at 25, like that, we've got something there. And then, I mean, so the white, I think if you swung a little faster, we were saying a little bit, that one wants you to go. So if you went, I think we'd have a little bit more fun with that, and we could make it work.
Sure.
I think there's also room to make it work, potentially straight in, potentially not tipped an inch. Me and you are very different swingers, different golfers. I think the tipping of an inch is something I never would have tried in it. Maybe a half inch, but the fact that I hit yours with an inch, and I was hitting, what was it, that ping head, the LSD?
LSD,
Heavier head. I like that. That all went together.
Yeah.
But what I like is this BB, because I saw you get a string of shots that they were flat, they turned over properly, and they hung in the air a little bit.
Yeah.
You weren't that overhook. Now, you said you tipped that thing 1.5 inches. So that's pretty aggressive at that point.
Yeah.
I would be really curious if we could maximize the BB with a different club head.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like right now you've got the triple diamond.
Yeah.
What if we went a little bit more aggressive with the settings on that even?
Yeah.
What if we lowered that down?
Yeah, it's at standard with the heavy weight in the back.
Yeah. What if we moved that weight forward in that thing? What if we lowered it down a notch? And it also is worth saying, the club head that you have, it looks 3 degrees more closed than the one I have right here. So I would even wonder, same head, what would happen if we put this one on that? So there's things that if this was a true fitting, as opposed to a little bit of a test and a conversation, what could we have done? There's some things I think that we can make that. Like, I think we can drop you a couple hundred RPMs a spin.
On the BB.
It just sounded so good, so efficient. And I like that your misses to the right were a little equal to the ones on the left. So if you missed it 10, 15 left, you would miss it 10 yards right, not 30 yards right, not 30 yards left. There wasn't anything big, whereas the red went wee out to the right. And then you had one that was like shebang out to the left, and the white tended to kind of hold the line and go left, right? But I think you also hit it a little bit higher. We took out one of the balls for the sample just because it dropped your ball speed a little bit. It was like high toe. And that's what I hear. I hear the whiteboard hit a little higher in the face sometimes.
Yeah, living there,
So that makes sense. You'd have to mess with some things. I think it'll be really interesting when we get, because we're about to test some QI35s for another video. I think it'd be really fun to take the whiteboard in the BB, the WB and the BB, and see if we can test these and then optimize one. And just see what it would look like.
Sick. Let's do that. Stay tuned for that video. This is it. Thanks, Bryan, for the help. I appreciate it.
Thanks for visiting.
Air
5. Friends.
I think we're going to do more of this.
We should do more.
I think we're going to do more of this. So,
come visit more often.
Really, really cool stuff here. But yeah, let's move in. Video coming probably in a couple days. We're going to jump into the QI35 lineup.
Awesome.
Sick.